Brewed. Heart. Chapter 1. Coffee and Dinners. Mallow stood at the counter of the boutique where she worked, her mind wandering as the hours dragged on. She had been a sales lady at the large mall in Taiwan for over 2 years, but the excitement had faded quickly. She wanted more from life, but didn't know where to find it. Her mother often reminded her they needed money, so quitting wasn't an option. Her thoughts were interrupted by a familiar voice. "Hey, Mallow." She looked up and saw Lewisia tugging a smile at the corner of her lips. Lewisia was a barista in the same mall, and over the past few months, they had exchanged small talk whenever Mallow grabbed a coffee from her cafe. But recently, their conversations had become longer and more personal. Lewisia was stunning, half Taiwanese, half Malaysian, with long dark hair and eyes that seemed to see right through her. "Hi, Lewisia," Mallow replied, a little flustered as always. "How's work?" "Same as usual," Lewisia said with a shrug. "But I was wondering if you were free after your shift." "Maybe we could grab dinner?" Mallow blinked, her heart skipping a beat. Was this a date? She couldn't be sure, but the idea thrilled her. "Yeah, I'd like that." "Great. I'll pick you up at 7. As Lewisia walked away, Mallow felt a flutter of excitement in her chest. She had never been this interested in anyone before, especially not another woman. But something about Lewisia drew her in, and she couldn't deny the pull she felt.
Chapter 2. Mixed Signals.
As the weeks passed, Mallow found herself thinking about Lewisia more than she cared to admit. Each encounter with the barista left her feeling warm inside, her thoughts swirling with possibilities. Their daily interactions became the highlight of her day, and she felt inexplicably drawn to Lewisia. But despite the growing connection, something held Mallow back. Every time they were together, it felt like they were on the verge of something more, only for Lewisia to pull away, keeping her distance. Yet, in other ways, Lewisia was always there. She surprised Mallow with her favorite pastries, sent thoughtful messages asking if she had eaten, and left small gifts like a delicate rose bracelet that made Mallow's heart flutter. But there were no clear signs of romantic intent. Lewisia hadn't made any moves or said anything to confirm how she really felt. Mallow felt caught in emotional limbo, unsure of their relationship's true nature. One afternoon, as Mallow finished her shift at the boutique, she spotted Lewisia waiting for her, holding a warm drink. "I made your favorite coffee today. Thought you might need it," she said, smiling. Mallow's heart raced. The small gestures made her feel cherished, but her confusion grew. Was Lewisia just being kind, or was there something deeper behind her actions? "Thanks," Mallow replied softly, taking the coffee. After a moment, she hesitated and asked, "Lewisia, why do you do all this for me?" "What do you mean?" Lewisia tilted her head slightly, her expression unreadable. "You bring me food, ask how I am, and give me these thoughtful gifts, but you never say anything more." Mallow bit her lip, feeling vulnerable. "I'm just confused. Are we just friends, or is this something else?" Lewisia's face softened, but she didn't answer immediately. "Enjoy your coffee, Mallow," she said gently and walked slowly, but her words lacked the clarity Mallow desperately needed. Frustration tightened Mallow's chest. "Lewisia, thank you. See you around." That night, lying in bed, Mallow stared at her phone. A message from Lewisia popped up. "Hope you got home safe. Don't forget to eat something before bed." Mallow sighed, her chest tightening as she reread the words. Lewisia was always so caring, but it felt like she was keeping Mallow at arm's length. Did Lewisia feel the same way but was afraid to admit it? Or was she just being kind, unaware of how much her actions affected Mallow? Mallow typed a reply, her fingers hovering over the screen. She longed to ask again for clarity, but feared scaring Lewisia away. Instead, she wrote, "Thanks, Lewisia. See you tomorrow." As she hit send, Mallow couldn't shake the gnawing uncertainty. She had fallen for Lewisia, but was she falling for someone who might never return her feelings? Only time will tell.
Chapter 3 Mother's Wish.
Weeks passed, and Mallow's feelings for Lewisia grew stronger, and so with the pressure from her mother intensified. One evening, Mallow's mother called her into the living room. "Mallow, we need to talk." Mallow's stomach nodded as she sat down across from her mother. "What is it?" Her mother's expression was serious. "The landlord's son has been asking about you. He's interested in marrying you, and it would solve a lot of our problems. He's well off, and if you marry him, we won't have to worry about rent or money anymore." Mallow's heart sank. "But I don't even know him. I don't want to marry someone I don't love." Her mother frowned, her tone sharp. "Love doesn't pay the bills, Mallow. You need to think about our future, not just yours. This is an opportunity to make things better for all of us." Mallow felt trapped, her chest tightening. "I can't, Mom. I'm in love with someone else." Her mother's eyes narrowed. "Who?" "It doesn't matter, Mom. I'm only just a friend to this person," Mallow answered. Mallow thinking, the words caught in her throat. She wasn't ready to tell her mother about Lewisia, not yet.
Chapter 4 Pressured Choices.
The sun hung low in the sky as Mallow sat at the kitchen table, heart pounding with anxiety. Her mother flitted about the kitchen, bustling with a nervous energy that made Mallow's stomach twist. Today was the day she would meet the landlord's son, a prospect that filled her with dread. "Mallow, you need to look presentable. He'll be here any minute," her mother called, adjusting a vase of flowers on the table. Mallow forced a smile, trying to mask her inner turmoil. "Mom, I don't even know him. Why do I have to be presentable?" Her mother turned, eyes wide with determination. "Because he's a good match for you. He comes from a respectable family, and he's well off. Think of what this could mean for our future." "I don't care, Mom," Mallow replied, her voice rising. "What about love? I don't want to marry someone just because he has a nice house and money." "Mallow," her mother said, her tone growing sharp, "you need to be practical. Love doesn't pay the bills. Do you think it's easy for me? I've worked hard to keep us afloat and want the best for you, for us." Mallow's heart ached as she felt the pressure mounting. "But I want to make my own choices. What if I don't like him? What if he's not right for me?" Her mother stepped closer, her voice softening. "Just give him a chance. Be polite. Welcome him. You might be surprised. This could be a great opportunity for us." Tears stung Mallow's eyes, frustration boiling over. "I can't just pretend to like someone for your sake. It's not fair." "Mallow," her mother pleaded, desperation creeping into her voice. "I'm only asking you to try. This is about securing our future. Can't you see that? You'll thank me later." "Thank you for what? For marrying someone I don't love?" Mallow shouted, her voice breaking. "That's not a life I want." Silence fell between them, thick with unspoken words. Mallow's heart raced as she faced the reality of her situation. The pressure felt suffocating, and the weight of her mother's wish bore down on her. The doorbell rang, jolting them both. Mallow's breath caught in her throat as her mother rushed to answer it. "Remember to be polite, Mallow," her mother called over her shoulder. As Mallow prepared to meet the landlord's son, she felt the walls closing in. Would she be able to uphold her mother's expectations while suppressing her own feelings? She had so many dreams for her future, dreams that included love and authenticity, but could she pursue them when her mother's hopes loomed so large? Mallow took a deep breath, steeling herself for the encounter. The choice ahead loomed before her like a heavy fog. Would she stand firm in her truth, or would she allow herself to be swept away by her mother's dreams?
Chapter 5 Unexpected Proposals.
Mallow stood in the living room, her heart racing as she awaited Rui-chun to come in, the landlord's son. Her mother had decorated the space with fresh flowers, and the scent of home-cooked dishes wafted from the kitchen, creating an atmosphere that felt more like a celebration than a meeting. When the door swung open, Mallow's breath caught in her throat. Xingru stepped in, tall and confident, with a warm smile that instantly put her mother at ease. "Hello, Miss Mallow," he greeted her, extending a hand. "It's nice to finally meet you." "Nice to meet you too," Mallow replied, shaking his hand, but the contact felt foreign, almost uncomfortable. She forced a smile, trying to mask her apprehension. "Mallow, this is Xingrui," her mother said brightly, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "He's a wonderful young man, and I think you two will get along well." With a quick nod, her mother excused herself, leaving Mallow and Xing alone. The tension in the room shifted as Mallow's nervousness began to creep in. "So, Mallow," Xing began, leaning casually against the wall, "what do you like to do for fun?" Mallow hesitated, searching for something to say. "I enjoy reading and spending time with friends," she replied, trying to sound casual. "And, working in the boutique." "Sounds nice," Xing said, his smile widening. "I'm sure you have a lot of interesting stories. My sister loves shopping." "Maybe we can go together sometime?" Mallow forced a laugh. "Sure, that sounds fun." Xing took a step closer, his expression growing serious. "I've heard a lot about you, Mallow. Your mother speaks highly of you." "Really?" Mallow said, feeling both flattered and uneasy. "What has she said?" "That you're smart, talented, and you have a good head on your shoulders," he replied. "I admire that." "I think we could make a great match." Mallow's heart sank at the implication. "What do you mean by that?" she asked, trying to keep her voice steady. "Well," Xing said, taking another step closer, "I've been thinking about settling down soon. I'd love to have a family, and I think you'd make a wonderful wife." "Wife?" Mallow echoed, her voice rising slightly. "But we barely know each other." "True, but we can change that," he replied, undeterred. "I believe in moving forward quickly. I want to marry you in 2 months. That gives us enough time to plan everything. What do you say?" Mallow's heart raced, panic flooding her thoughts. 2 months? She repeated, her mind racing. That's really soon." Xing nodded, his demeanor earnest. "I know it's fast, but life is too short to waste time. We could build a beautiful future together." Mallow's stomach twisted as she felt the pressure of the moment. I need some time to think about it," she stammered, desperate for a way out. "Of course," Xing said, maintaining his composure, "but I hope you'll consider it seriously. I think we could be very happy together." As Xing Rui left, Mallow's mother asked what happened. "He wants us to get married in 2 months, Mom." Mallow's mother was so excited. "Good, good. The sooner the better for our family, Mallow." Mallow's heart sank as she felt trapped between her mother's wish and her own confusion. Could she really marry someone like Xing Rui? Someone who represented a life her mother dreamed of, but she could barely look? "I'll think about it," Mallow said finally, her voice lacking conviction. She felt torn between the expectations of her mother and the stirrings of her heart that longed for someone different. As her mother beamed at her, Mallow forced a smile, but inside she was in turmoil. The choice ahead loomed before her like a heavy fog. Would she stand firm in her truth, or would she allow herself to be swept away by her mother's dreams? Only time will tell.
Chapter 6, A Leap of Faith.
Mallow rushed into Lewisia's apartment, tears streaming down her cheeks. She felt as if the walls were closing in on her, the weight of her mother's expectations pressing down with every breath. Without a word, she collapsed onto the sofa, burying her face in her hands. Lewisia immediately sensed the turmoil. She sat down next to Mallow, gently placing a comforting hand on her back. "What happened?" she asked softly. Mallow looked up, her eyes red and puffy. "It's my mother." She won't stop talking about Xingrui. She's pushing me to marry him, and I can't breathe. I don't love him, Lewisia. I feel trapped. Lewisia's heart ached for her. I'm so sorry, Mallow. That sounds really hard, she said, her voice steady yet filled with warmth. You deserve to make your own choices. I just wish I could escape this pressure, Mallow admitted, wiping her tears. But I can't just leave my family behind. They depend on me. Lewisia hesitated for a moment, then took a deep breath. What if you could? What if you could leave all of this behind and start fresh somewhere far away? Mallow blinked in surprise, the suggestion shocking her. What do you mean? I mean, what if we went somewhere together? Just the two of us. You could be free from your mother's wish in Xingrui, Lewisia offered, her eyes filled with hope. Mallow shook her head, panic rising in her chest. I can't just abandon my family. They rely on my income. What would they do without me? They would be okay, Lewisia reassured her, her voice calm and soothing. We can support them from wherever we are. What's most important is that you're away from the pressure to marry someone you don't love. We could figure it out together. But what if I can't find a job? Mallow's voice trembled, fear clouding her thoughts. What if I fail? Lewisia leaned closer, determination shining in her eyes. You won't fail. I own several cafes around Taiwan. You could help me run them. I've been looking for someone I trust to help manage them, and we can provide for you and your family while we're away from them. Mallow's heart raced at the revelation. You own cafes? I had no idea. Yes, Lewisia said, her tone earnest. I've stayed at this branch because of you, Mallow. You've brought so much joy into my life. I like you more than you know. Mallow's breath hitched in her throat. You like me? I think I love you, Mallow, Lewisia admitted, her cheeks flushing with sincerity. I've loved you since the first moment I saw you at the mall. I was drawn to you. I couldn't help myself, and I want to be with you. But I also want you to be happy, whatever that means for you. Mallow felt a rush of emotions, joy, relief, and disbelief all mixed. You love me? She repeated, her voice barely above a whisper. A radiant smile broke through her tears, and her heart felt as though it were soaring. Yes, Lewisia replied, her eyes sparkling with hope and affection. I've wanted to tell you for so long, but I didn't know how you felt. I didn't want to pressure you or ruin what we had. Mallow's heart swelled with happiness. You have no idea how long I've wished for this moment, she confessed, her voice trembling with emotion. I thought I was alone in my feelings. I thought I was just a friend to you. Lewisia reached out, brushing a strand of hair behind Mallow's ear. I'm confused about having this feeling for you. We're both women. I never thought you feel the same way I do, but I do love you, Mallow. At that moment, the weight of her worries seemed to lift. Mallow leaned closer, her heart racing. I can't believe this is happening, she whispered, her eyes searching Lewisia's for reassurance. With a newfound courage, Mallow closed the gap between them. She pressed her lips to Lewisia's, feeling a spark of electricity that ignited the air around them. It was a gentle kiss filled with unspoken promises and emotions that had long been held back. When their lips parted, Mallow's cheeks were flushed, and Lewisia's eyes sparkled with happiness. I've wanted to do that for so long, Mallow admitted, laughter bubbling up through her tears. Me too, Lewisia said, her voice soft and full of affection. I'm glad we did it. Mallow's heart swelled with hope and joy as she realized they could face anything together. I'll think about your offer, she said, her voice steady. But knowing you love me makes it easier to live together far from this place. As they sat together, Mallow felt a renewed sense of strength. For the first time in a long time, she could see a way forward, one where love and freedom intertwined, and where she wouldn't have to choose between her heart and her family. Together, they could find a way to make it work.
Chapter 7, Going Away Closer to Your Heart.
When the doorbell rang, it startled her from her thoughts. She took a deep breath, smoothing her hair down before opening the door. Lewisia stood there, her bright smile lighting up the dim entryway, yet Mallow could see a hint of concern in her eyes. In her hands, she held an envelope and a key, the weight of which felt monumental. "Hey, beautiful," Lewisia greeted, stepping inside and enveloping Mallow in a warm embrace. Mallow leaned into her, savoring the comfort and security she found in Lewisia's arms. "Hi," Mallow replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "What's all this?" Lewisia pulled back, her expression shifting to one of earnestness. "I have something for you and your family." She handed Mallow the key. "This is the key to my house." Mallow's heart dropped as she processed the words. "Your house? But why would you give it to my family?" Confusion washed over her. "Because I want to help," Lewisia explained, her voice steady but filled with emotion. "I've been thinking about how stressful things have been for you and your family with Rui in your lives. I want you all to have a fresh start away from that chaos. This way, your family won't have to worry about rent or anything while we are away." Mallow stared at the key, disbelief flooding her senses. "You're serious? You want them to live in your house?" The thought of leaving behind the familiarity of her small apartment was overwhelming. "Yes," Luzia said gently, "I want to help Mallow. I know how much you've been carrying on your shoulders, and this could be a new beginning for your family. We will also leave some money for any expenses to cover their needs while we settle in the north." Mallow glanced down at the envelope, her heart swelling with gratitude and guilt. "You didn't have to do all this, Lewisia. I can't accept this generosity. It feels too much." "Stop," Lewisia interrupted softly but firmly. "You and your family need that so we can live without worrying." Tears pricked Mallow's eyes, with a mix of emotion surged through her: relief, gratitude, and an overwhelming sense of inadequacy. But what if my mom doesn't accept this? What if she refuses to move? I can't just drag them away from everything. "You have to talk to her," Lewisia urged, her voice gentle yet insistent. "Explain why it's important. You have to tell her that you need to be away with Xing and them also." Mallow felt a blush creeping into her cheeks at the thought. "Can I tell her about us?" "It's your choice, Mallow," Lewisia replied. "I'm here to support you." The thought made Mallow happy and determined. "I want my family to know you, Luzia." Luzia smiles. "Go, talk to your mother, and get all the things you need. We need to move sooner, too." Mallow felt a surge of determination mixed with apprehension. "Okay, I'll talk to her. I'll explain why they need to move into your house, and I move far from here and live with you." "Take your time," Lewisia encouraged. "I'll be here for you no matter what. Just know that you're not alone in this." Mallow kissed Lewisia with tenderness. "Thank you, Lewisia." "I can do this," Mallow whispered to herself, feeling a newfound strength coursing through her veins. With Lewisia by her side, she believed they could navigate the challenges ahead. Mallow talked to her parents about her need to leave and be away with Xing and their need to move to Lewisia's house to stop their connection with Xing. She will live with Lewisia and help manage Lewisia's coffee business. Then, as her parents understood, she called Lewisia. "Dad, Mom, this is Lewisia. She is not just a friend. We love each other. I hope you understand and accept us." Mallow's parents were surprised, but both stood and embraced Mallow and Lewisia. "Thank you, Lewisia, for taking care of our Mallow and us. Welcome to our family," Mallow's mother uttered. His father taps the shoulder of Lewisia. "I'm grateful for making this easy for us," Lewisia answered.
Chapter 8, A Night to Remember.
Mallow stood at the window of their new home, gazing out at the lush greenery of northern Taiwan. The sunlight filtered through the leaves, casting playful shadows on the walls of the beautiful house of Lewisia. It felt like a dream one she had never dared to imagine until now. "I can't believe I live in this beautiful house with you," Mallow said, turning to Lewisia, who was unpacking boxes in the living room. Lewisia looked up and smiled. It's just the beginning, love. We'll work hard for all your dreams. Mallow walked over to Lewisia, wrapping her arms around her waist. Thank you for everything. I still can't believe how lucky I am. Lewisia turned in Mallow's embrace, her expression softening. You deserve it all, Mallow. She leaned in, capturing Mallow's lips with a tender kiss. The tension in the air shifted as they leaned closer, their breaths mingling. Mallow took Lewisia's hands, leading her to the bedroom, anticipation hanging thick in the air. The room was softly lit, a serene sanctuary that felt like a haven just for them. Lewisia stepped closer, her fingers tracing Mallow's jawline, sending shivers down her spine. You're so beautiful, she murmured. Mallow felt a blush creep onto her cheeks. You make me feel beautiful. Their kisses ignited a whirlwind of sensations. They explored each other, their hands roaming freely as they undressed. Mallow felt exhilarated, every touch igniting her senses. Lewisia, this is my first time, Mallow whispered. Lewisia smiles. Do we need to watch something? It's my first time, too. Mallow laughed softly. I don't think so. I think my imagination will do. It's been months I've been dreaming about you, kissing you, touching you. Lewis intently looked at Mallow. Tell me, what are you doing to me in your dreams, Mallow? In detail? As they tangled naked in bed, both smiling, Mallow and Lewisia knew that what they shared was more than just love. It was a brewed heart, rich with warmth, passion, and the promise of forever.
Thank you, heart. Sweet dreams. Till next time, moi.